All right, good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great start to your day and getting kind of back into the swing of things. Today, we're going to talk about some pretty important topics, and that's digital marketing. We're going to talk about what it is and kind of how to excel at it, what things you need to be doing and thinking about. For those of you that don't do much in the online space, I think you're going to find that it's becoming more and more and more important. Just like we've been talking in the series of webinars that we've been doing about selling online and using the online tools at your disposal is although we will get past this current pandemic, we're still kind of setting a new normal. In other words, there are going to be folks that going forward that this is going to be their preferred method of communication and contact and quite frankly purchasing um, insurance. So we need to make sure that you're thinking about it and prepared for it and going into that. And that really, a lot of people, when they think of digital marketing, they think Facebook, but it's really a lot more than that. So what we're going to talk about today is a lot of stuff to do with that. But before we get started, like always, if you have questions, type those in, and then we'll answer those at the end. There will be a short survey at the end of the webinar, so please stick around and provide answers to that. If you don't see it at the very end of the webinar, that's okay. You'll get it in the follow-up email for the webinar as well. So those are the two opportunities that you'll have to complete that survey. That being said, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. Today's agenda is what is digital marketing? That's a pretty simple question. We're probably going to go through this first part a little bit quick, but then we're going to talk about how to get started. We're really going to focus on the tools that you need. We're going to look at some costs involved in being an effective digital marketing, and we're going to talk a little bit about prospecting. That's kind of the footprint, if you will, for today's webinar. And then, of course, this afternoon, just like following all Thursday webinars, we will have a video chat get together we call Coffee Talk, and we invite you to bring and you all, everybody that attends this webinar will get an invite to that. We invite you to come to that webinar and listen to and share ideas and thoughts. Really, kind of a continuation of what we're talking about today. So, with that being said, let's get into this thing. So, first of all, what is digital marketing? And that's really a combination of things. It's pretty much anything you do in an online space, either on the internet or on a device, would be considered digital marketing. So all of your email blasts that you do, social media posting that you do, your actual website, which not only is that, that essentially your website is essentially your digital business card, if you will. Banner ads that a lot of folks run banner ads. I'm sure you've seen them. If you watch like YouTube videos or whatever, you'll see banner ads. Anything of that nature that's done in electronic format, text messages, all that stuff, it's all considered digital marketing. Now, so the chances are you've probably done digital marketing. What we got to look at doing, though, is what we're going to talk about today really is how to take all of these things and really make them work in cohesion. I don't know if I can say that word correctly, cohesion with one another. In other words, you want all of your digital marketing to kind of work toward the same goal. So let's get into that part a little bit. So that's what digital marketing is. Like I said, you're probably already doing it, but the key to being effective at digital marketing is having a consistent campaign. In other words, you don't do it some and then don't do it other days and then do it some days. It's just like any other marketing campaign. You must be consistent with it. And you're going to need some tools. So let's talk a little bit about the tools. What tools do you need? That's a great question. The first tool that you need, and I know you guys haven't heard me hammer on this time and time and time again, but you've got to have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, then you'll find yourself sporadically posting things online and not really having an effective campaign. The only way to have a really effective campaign is to have a plan for it, a digital marketing plan. And just like a regular marketing plan, that's going to consist of having a target market, having a, products, a mission statement, pricing and positioning and branding, budget, and goals. Now, the great thing about what we do, as far as this planning purposes, 1, 2, and 4 are pretty well taken care of. What I mean by that is your target market. We know what that is. We market to the Medicare agency agents. I mean, sorry, we market to Medicare consumers. I'll say the right word in a second. So that's our target market. Our products, I mean, again, those are pretty well designed for you. When we talk about a plan, you're typically talking about, well, okay, I've got to design my product to reach my target market. Well, that's taken care of for you. The carriers are doing that bit for you. So 1 and 2 are taken care of. And like I said, 4 is kind of taken care of as well, because that's part of your product development, your pricing of your product, your positioning your product in the marketplace, and branding your product. So 1, 2, and 4 are taken care of for us. As agents, as independent marketers, we need to look at our mission statement, our budget, and our goals. So we're going to focus on these here. So number 3, let's start with mission statement. A lot of you may have some like tagline for your business or something, but the question is, do you really have a mission statement? And this is an extremely important part of a plan. It's an extremely important part of your marketing campaign, because what your mission statement is it summarizes the core values of your business. This is who we are. So when you put out a mission statement, you're telling the world, this is who I am. This is my core values, and this is what I do. And that is an important statement. And it needs to be, you need to be focused, and it needs to put some thought and time into it, right? Because you're going to put that on your website. You're going to put that on your business cards. You're going to put that on your social media pages. It's going to be in a prevalent place where folks who are looking and catching advertisements are going to see. And they're going to see what your core values are and what it is that you do. You want them to know right off the bat that you're an expert in this field, and your values are, whatever they are, helping others, and getting through the Medicare maze, whatever it is. I can't really throw out that, but write that statement. Write a good mission statement. And then once you have it and you've printed it and you've made it public, the next thing you need to do is you need to periodically review that mission statement, because what that's going to do is help you recenter and refocus on what are your core values. That keeps you on point. It keeps you visually focused on your mission, which will keep you mentally focused on your marketing campaigns, which are used to achieve your mission. So mission statement is extremely important. Some of this early part may be a little bit basic, but we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the other part here in a second. But this, even though it may be a little bit basic, it's very, very important, and a lot of people overlook it. So number 5 of that list that I gave you, remember I said we need to focus on 3, 5, and 6. So number 5 is budget, and this is one where a lot of folks fail to plan. They don't plan a budget. You've got to have a budget for your marketing campaign, because if you don't have a budget, if you don't have any dollars in which to spend on marketing, then you're not going to do any marketing. I mean, it's really pretty simple. You've got to have a budget to do your marketing. So, and they take discipline to stick to. It takes a lot of discipline to develop a budget and then stick to that budget. So what you really ought to be doing is taking some of every dollar that you make and putting it aside for the purpose of promoting your business. So you sell a Medicare Advantage product, for example. Let's say you get $260 commission, whatever it is. Let's say you get $260 commission on selling a product. You need to take a portion of that sale and stick into your marketing budget. And you do that with every commission that you get. Take a portion of that commission and stick it in your marketing budget. It's no different than budgeting at your home for your home things. You take a portion of this for this, and a portion of this for vacation fund, and a portion of this for that fund. You do the same thing for your business. And what the experts say is that a marketing budget should consist of 7 to 8% of your total revenue. So you should take, according to the experts, and you should take 7 to 8% of your total revenue and set it aside for your marketing budget. And of that, about 50% of that needs to be devoted to your digital marketing budget. Now, that's under normal circumstances. In the world that we're moving into now, to where a lot more is done online, you may need to adjust that. But keep in mind what you're going to pay for out of that marketing budget are your business cards, your websites, your internet, because you need that to market. You're going to pay for all of the tools and things that you need to promote yourself in the field. That's what your marketing budget is for. So, got to focus on that. You got to write a plan. You got to have a budget in order to execute that plan. And the last of that list that we talked about there are goals. And this is one where a lot of folks really miss. In other words, they skip this step, or they say, "Yeah, I want to write a lot of business," or they'll have some arbitrary number in their brain, but they're not really truly setting a goal. And without a goal, quite frankly, if you don't set a goal, you have very little chance of success. And that's just the truth. You've got to set a goal, and it has to be an obtainable goal. Your goal can't be, "Oh, I'm going to write 500 enrollments this AEP," if you normally write 20. That's not an obtainable goal. So you need to set an obtainable goal. The goal keeps you focused on your success. The goal keeps you focused on your success. I'm going to give you here's a common denominator. If you look at the very top of our producers, the very top of our elite producers, they all have a common denominator. And that common denominator is they set a goal every year. Moreover, not only do they set the goal, they make it known what their goal is. They reach out to Larry and myself and the folks at the office, and they say, "Here's my production goal this year." And then now, not only have they set a goal, they've made that goal public, and now other people are kind of holding them accountable to that goal, which kind of keeps them focused on it. So that's the common denominator of that top group. So if you're wondering, how do I break into the very top of those production groups? Well, first of all, you got to write a plan, you got to have a budget, but you got to have goals. You got to have goals and make those goals public, and then have people hold you accountable to those goals. That keeps you on point. It keeps you focused. It keeps you from getting distracted during the selling season, and it keeps you focused on doing what needs to be done. So that's the plan portion. Okay, you got to have a plan. That's the first tool that you need. You got to have a plan. So, but what about sales tools? Because you got to have those as well. So let's spend some time here and talk about sales tools. You're going to need them. Any good marketing campaign is going to have several tools, but you need to have a quality website. And what I mean by a quality website, be cautious of these. And you do, obviously you got to do what your budget allows you to do. But you need to be cautious on these deals that they advertise on. "Oh, build a website in 5 minutes." Well, guess what? If you can build a website in 5 minutes, it's probably not a good quality website. So you need to have a good quality website. You need to have a strong social media campaign. And what I mean by a strong social media campaign, I don't mean having a personal Facebook page that you post on periodically. And we're going to talk about that. You've got to have easy to use online enrollment tools. The good news is the easy to use online enrollment tools you don't have to worry about budgeting for. We're pretty much taking care of those for you. Between the carriers and their developing really, really easy to use MedSup enrollment tools. I mean, honestly, if you look at the CVS Health, the Aetna CVS Health Medicare supplement product, that might be the easiest product to enroll online, period. Not only is it a household name product with outstanding rates, and by the way, if you don't have that product, you need to reach out to me the moment this webinar is over, me or Ty at the office, and say, "Look, I need that CVS Health product." It is a game changer in the marketplace. It's a huge name. It's branded with CVS Pharmacy. It's got some of the best rates in the market. Now, it's not in every state yet, but it's coming, and it's coming into more and more. So those of you in Missouri, it's filed, it's not approved yet. But nonetheless, if you're in Arkansas, Texas, states like that, Florida, you need to have that product. It's nicely branded, but it's also maybe the easiest online sell product I know of, because your client doesn't even have to have an email for you to sell them remotely. They don't even have to have an email. The way that you can, there's several ways to do digital signature on their app. One of which is that what they call, it's a security code signature. In other words, you ask your client a security code question, they give you an answer, you plug that in, that's their signature. They don't have to have an email. They don't have to get on the telephone and do a conference three-way bridge call or any of that. It's really slick. So if you need to know more about that, reach out to me or Ty and let us help you figure that out, because that's really sweet. So online enrollment tools. The MedSup's pretty easy. Medicare, the final expense. Again, we've got some really easy tools there. We've got telephonic enrollment systems. We've got some easy tools there. And Medicare Advantage and PDP, we have probably the best tool, and that's our Medicare Center. So the tools part, the sales tools part, we can take care of real easy. The other parts, we have to help you focus on developing. So let's talk a little bit more about these things. A quality website. Okay, you're gonna need a good quality website. It's your digital business card. That's what your website is. Okay, it's your digital business card, and it says it's your tell people what they want, what you want them to know about you in a real quick hit information. Now, and there's some important things about your website, and some of you have good websites. Some of you have websites that you need to look at to make sure that they're meeting the criteria of what's considered a quality website. So, first of all, let's talk about statistics. Statistics show that 75% of people judge your company's credibility based on how your website looks and functions. So you need to go to your own website and look at it from a consumer standpoint. Does my website tell people what I want them to tell them quickly? And does it function well? And does it have a quality appearance? Does it look good? And then your site needs to focus on three things. It needs to be fast, it needs to be secure, and it needs to be mobile friendly. So what do those things mean when I say it needs to be fast, it needs to be secure, and it needs to be mobile friendly? Fast, okay? Your website should load up in 3 to 5 seconds. In other words, when someone clicks on www.BillyDrennan Insurance, whatever my website might be.com, it needs to load up in 3 to 5 seconds. Test that with your site. Does it load that quickly? It needs to load fast. It needs to be secured. Okay, invest in the getting your website in secure, the HTTPS stuff. Secure your website, because you're asking people to come on there. A lot of times, you're asking people to come on there and type in some personal information to get a quote. Type in some personal information to request information from you. Well, you want them to feel like, hey, I'm putting my information into a secure place. So your website needs to be secure. It needs to be mobile friendly, because guess what? Folks are pulling you up and looking you up and going to your website on their smartphones. Yes, even the Medicare population. Now, I got it. A lot of us still work in some rural areas where a lot of people hadn't gotten hold of the whole smartphone craze, but more and more and more, that is becoming the standard. Folks are looking things up on their smartphones. You need to have that. Your website needs to look good on a phone. If you've never gone to your website from your smartphone to see what it looks like, you need to do that. And if it doesn't meet the criteria, if it doesn't load up well, if it doesn't look good on a smartphone, well, then you need to revamp it. So, websites are very, very, very important. The other things that you need to have on your website, these are your best practices on your website, right? Contact info. It needs to be front and center. Again, folks, They go to your website, they want to find what they're looking for fast. They don't want to spend a lot of time clicking around. You don't want them to have to hunt for how to get a hold of you. Okay? Contact information needs to be front and center. You need to have calls to action. Calls to action. So if you're trying to get someone to reach out to you to talk to you about their Medicare, you need to have a call to action to reach out to you and talk to you about their Medicare. You need to have that. Speak their language. Tailor your website content to your target market. Now, what I mean by that is we've gotten some of the folks on the webinar today are young, and that's great because young people need to be in this business. Because quite frankly, there's not enough young people in this business. A lot of the agents are older, and some of them are retiring, and there's so many people that need help. But sometimes folks that are young don't always write or put information in a manner that's kind of the same as what maybe your target audience is looking for. In other words, if I'm 30, maybe I'm not arranging my content in a written manner that speaks to someone who's 70. But I need to do that. And so there's ways you can do that. If you struggle with that kind of thing, or if you find yourself using a lot of millennial type language, I say, or Gen X type language or whatever, remember, we're trying to appeal to the baby boomer population. So find yourself a baby boomer, your parents, or if you're real young, your grandparents, and help work with them to develop your content so that it speaks to them, because that's what you want. You also want to invest in search engine optimization. Okay, it takes more than just putting out a website. You need to create, you need to invest. And sometimes, you know what, this costs a little bit of money to invest in these search engine optimization tools. But what that does, if you do that and you invest in these tools, then it's going to push your website to the top of searches. So if someone's searching for something that's a keyword that your website is designed to appear in that search, it puts you at the top. Think about your own searches on the internet. When you Google something, or I don't think anybody Yahoo's anything anymore, but maybe somebody out there does. For the most part, I think Google's the dominant. You say, oh, Google something. But when you Google something, you don't typically go past the first page, right? I mean, you typically look at the first 4, 5, 6 items at most, and then you end up in a some of us end up down a real rabbit hole clicking on all those things. But nonetheless, you are on those top items. You don't go down. If you go down to the bottom, and if you've never actually done this, do it. Go down to the bottom of your search and look, there's next page. It'll go on forever because a lot of stuff pops up. The ones that are at the top are the ones that invest in search engine optimization so that their stuff always appears toward the top. That's what you want. And then have some stuff on your website, content on your website that's driven for the information you're trying to put out. Have some one-on-one resources on your website. When I say some one-on-one resources, now you don't want to give the full. What I would say is you wouldn't want to give, say, like Medicare. Somebody's thinking, yeah, I'm going to put Medicare one-on-one on my website. Well, what you don't want to do is put out such an intense amount of information that they don't feel like they need to talk to you. But you do want to put out some basic information, like, hey, did you know that Medicare doesn't cover dental? And then, kind of go through little snippets like that, little one-on-one snippets like that. You can also do those in video format, right? Short videos. Short videos are amazing tools. Now, I will say, when I say short, I got that bold and italicized for a reason. No one's going to watch a 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute video of you talking about Medicare. It's not going to happen. What they will watch is maybe a 2 to 5 minute video of you explaining a concept. So again, that's good because that makes you focus on something that's just enough to answer a question, but maybe drive more questions, which is what you want, because then you have a call to action for them to reach out to you to ask more questions. Utilize quote comparison tools. Again, we help you with that. And something else to consider is using a chat with me function. Those can be very useful. They can be cumbersome. So when I say consider using it, I don't mean to you need to go out and put that on there, but consider using it because the reality is that a lot of your competitors, and when I say competitors, I'm talking carriers here, carriers that are selling direct, are putting the chat with us button on their website so people can chat with quick questions. That does a couple of things for you. It allows you to immediately interact with your customer, but it also collects information from them. So consider that. So that's your website basics, right? So focus on the websites. Review yours. Review yours. Now let's talk a little bit about social media. Social media, a lot of you guys know a lot about it. A lot of you got Facebook accounts and this and that and the other. It's very, very, very powerful. But again, in order to use it effectively, you're going to have to be consistent. In other words, you can't just randomly throw out posts. And you need to have all your social media work toward one common goal of promoting your brand. Promoting your brand. And the first step in doing that is not mixing your personal and your business social media accounts. Don't mix them. You don't want your clients on your Facebook page when you're getting into a Facebook fight over somebody on a political manner, or you're getting into you're posting your whatever of a personal nature. I'm not saying that you don't want to put some personal things on your business site, because you do want to put a human aspect in it, pictures of your kids and that kind of thing. But you really need to have those two separate. And not only do you want to have them separate for the reasons that you don't want the two worlds to kind of bleed over, because you don't want to offend any clients, but you also want to appear professional, because guess what? Again, your competitors, these direct carriers and the e-health and all those guys, their stuff is focused on professionalism, not personalism. So you want to make that stuff stay professional. Don't mix personal and business. And understand that there's more than just Facebook. You need to have a quality LinkedIn account. Several weeks ago, we had a webinar on it. And if you don't have that webinar, then jump on to our website and pull it up. But we did a webinar where we had a guest, Jesse Sloan, on, and he really did a lot about talking about developing a really quality LinkedIn account, and so that it's focused at because guess what? People are going to Google you. And you know what? When I Googled myself, first thing popped up was my LinkedIn account. First thing. And then whatever your summary of yourself is in that LinkedIn account is what it's going to say when they search you. So you want to have a good quality LinkedIn account. Go review that other webinar if you need some help on developing a good profile. Look at YouTube. YouTube is a good piece of social media that you need to look at as well. Instagram. A lot of folks are getting into Instagram. Okay, have Instagram. And the great thing about Instagram is you can't have big long diatribe posts. You've got to have, it's basically just a quick photo with a quick summary. So that's good ways to remember, keep it professional and keep it focused on working with the rest of your social media to work toward a common goal. When using Facebook, think about things like Facebook Live. Kind of an example here where I'm talking about having all your social media work toward one common goal. So think about, let's say I'm going to do a live stream in a Facebook Live, and today, it's on my heart to make sure that folks understand that home health care, has some limits under Medicare, because, I had a client that got burned on it, and I want to make sure people know about it. So, you kind of use your various social media platforms to kind of put a real quick information and a call to action. And your call to action would be, hey, join me Thursday for a Facebook Live. And then you stream your Facebook Live of talking about that particular thing. And then at the end of that, you invite folks to, again, a call to action, reach out to me and let's review yours. That's just an example of what I'm talking about, where you're using your LinkedIn and all your things to kind of drive toward one goal. So there's lots you can do with that. Now, again, on social media, you don't just have to plug business stuff. Sometimes highlight community involvement. We had an agent just a few weeks ago when there was tornadoes in in Jonesboro, he jumped into action and got in and started helping his neighbors. He helped a neighbor roof a house and basically went to work in his neighborhood. He went to work for his community. He served his community. That's the kind of stuff you want to put on your Facebook and your social media as well, because that kind of thing highlights again the human aspect that it all builds that message that we're trying to say is I'm your community expert. I live in this community, I love this community, and I want to serve this community. And that's kind of the message you're going to drive there. So use all of those tools. Use all those tools. Think about the other thing, when you think about Facebook, we'll get into that in a second. I'm going to talk about video marketing in a second. Enrollment tools. Okay, let's talk about enrollment tools because you got to have them. Again, that's the easy part because we're going to provide Medicare Center to you as long as you're a Drennan associated agent at no cost. You have Medicare Center. Our quote engines on our website are available to you at no cost. Go to our website. You've got Medicare Supplement quote engines. You got Medicare Advantage quote engines, final expense, dental, hospital indemnity. It's all available to you at no cost to you. And then these carriers that we have contracts with, they all have an amazing enrollment tools, like I talked about with the CVS Health. I mean, I keep bringing theirs up because, quite honestly, that's the slickest system I've seen. It is so easy to use. So that's one you really need to have in your portfolio. But it's not the only one, and there's other really good ones too. So those tools, that's the easy part. Because you're contracted with us, we'll provide those tools. You just got to build your other part. You got to build your online presence in social media and your website, and make sure all of those tools are working together. Talk about video marketing. This is an area where a lot of agents really hadn't gotten into. Now think about YouTube for a second. Think about what it is that you go to YouTube for. A lot of folks go to YouTube just to entertain themselves or pass the time, but 50% of YouTube visitors are using YouTube to learn how to do something. They're using YouTube to learn how to do something. And that, I cannot tell you how much I fit into that category. I have, just the other day, we had a drawer in our kitchen that was acting up, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm no carpenter. I don't know about fixing drawers. So Angelique jumps on YouTube, just clicking through some videos, and she found somebody has the same drawer setup system that we have. And it was a simple adjustment back here that needs to happen. And here's how you do that. And she click, and adjust it, and then the drawer works perfect. That's what 50% of YouTube users use YouTube for. We need to take advantage of that in our marketing campaigns. So we know that's what we do. We teach people how to do something, right? We teach people how to not be in debt at death, right? We teach people how to use life insurance to cover final expenses. We teach people how to find the best Medicare plans. We teach people how to navigate the Medicare maze. We teach people how to make sure that their drug plans are covering their drugs in the manner that works the best for them. That's what we do. We are educators. So use that platform. Go develop a YouTube page, and you can sign up. You can get one for free, or you can have a YouTube paid service. Either way, both work fine. Go to a YouTube page. You can go to YouTube Studio. That's where I house when we do videos for these webinars, I house them on YouTube, and then I link them to our website. You can build these videos. You can build out your YouTube presence, and then you can promote your videos on using all your social media together. You promote your videos on your social media sites. You house your videos on your website. I talked about doing those quick short education videos. Develop on YouTube, house them on your website, and so that'll drive your clients and customers and people searching for you to your YouTube page where they can find maybe more in-depth training videos. Use all this to your advantage. So don't forget about video marketing, and don't just put out information. Customer testimonials. That is probably your most powerful tool you've got, and this is not just in video marketing. This would be on your on your Facebook posts, on your LinkedIn, all of your online presence. Customer testimonials can be some of your most powerful tools. 95% of consumers read online reviews before they purchase goods and services. 95% of them. 85% of those people believe the reviews that they read. So that being said, you must deliver good service and you must keep happy clients. You're not always going to. I'm not saying you're not going to get a bad review. I mean, you can quite frankly, go to Amazon and look up any product. There are going to be some bad reviews. That's okay, as long as the vast majority of them are overwhelmingly positive. Then you'll have an overall. Just think about the Amazon rating schedule, right? You got 0 stars all the way up to 5 stars. So typically, if I'm searching for a product and it's 4 to 4.5 stars, I know that's probably, as long as it's got enough ratings to warrant, I know, hey, this is probably a pretty good product, and I feel pretty confident with that. Same thing goes for our services. Elicit customer reviews. And there's ways you can do that. There's lots of ways you can do that. But you got to have a strategy. Just like just like what we talked about with your marketing, your digital marketing plan, your overall digital space, you got to have a strategy for reviews. So you got to have kind of a plan for that. So solicit reviews from your current customers. Obviously, they trust you. They've purchased from you. You stay in contact with them, send them newsletters, reach out to them from time to time. They have a good feeling about you. They like you. They're going to give you good reviews. So solicit reviews from them. Make it a part of your new customer contact. When you reach out to new customers, or you develop a new customer and you're kind of delivering the do outs that you owe them, make part of that a review. Review, hey, can you review my service? And then use those reviews. And then you can also consider review. There's things out there. There's software out there that's designed to solicit and generate and kind of stack and your reviews for you. So there's software out there that you can look at, and I encourage you to go, Google it and take a look at it. That's kind of designed to help with this whole review process and making sure that your reviews are organized in such a fashion that they're going to look the most positive for you. So that's something to consider. Let's talk about costs. Because we talked a little bit about all of this stuff, right? A digital marketing campaign is going to have some costs associated with it. The website, the investment into social media and all that kind of thing. And there's ways to do it, right? There's low-end costs, where basically if you're committed to making sure that you're the one developing all of these tools and all these posts and work in this consistent plan, then you can do that really for no additional cost other than the cost of your website and the internet, which a lot of you already have anyway. So you can do a digital marketing campaign at virtually zero cost. And somewhere in the middle, you can spend about $780 a year and have a third party manage your entire social media campaign. In other words, what they'll do is, and I've got one, and we're going to introduce it this afternoon on our call for you. But so for those of you that are interested, what they'll do is they'll kind of interview you, get to know you, work with you a little bit, and then they will manage your social media presence. And they don't just post stuff about your business. They do that, but they also post personal stuff, and they've got it pretty well figured out where they do a good mix of all of this, so that they'll basically manage your entire social media campaign presence for you. And then we got our Cadillac plan. If you really want to invest in this whole online and just go full in on digital marketing, for about $1,200 a year, this same company will actually develop, maintain your website for you. They'll add the tools onto it for you, the Medicare, your Medicare Center link and all that stuff. They'll develop that thing for you. They'll build it for you. They'll manage it for you. They'll host it. And they'll add the social media management campaign in there as well. So For that, they'll take care of basically your entire online presence. And again, that's something I'm going to talk a little bit more about this afternoon when we do our coffee talk. And then probably in the next week or so, I'm going to have that company on, and they're going to do a webinar introducing that service and the full details of that service for you. So be on the lookout for that. But that's, that there's essentially your cost in this whole campaign. And there's obviously between those three. Those are just kind of a low, middle, and high end. Obviously, anywhere between those three, you can find yourself. So it really just depends on, do you want to commit to being focusing all your efforts and times on developing and putting out and managing, and when I say managing, because you've got to monitor that social media and get rid of, or do something about folks spreading negativity about you on social media. So there's a lot to manage it other than just, I'm going to throw out a post once in a while. Or do you want to just say, you know what, I'm going to focus on selling, you take care of the online presence, and then anywhere in between. So there's a lot of opportunities there. It can cost anywhere from nothing to about $1,200 a year. Something to consider. Again, when you're building your plan and laying out your budget, you can determine, well, which direction would I be most interested in going. The good news is we can help you work toward that with just about anything. Okay, got to write a plan. We've got to make sure all of our tools work together, but we've got to have prospects, right? We've got to get people. Digital marketing is more than just about putting out information. It's about getting stuff back, right? It's about getting people to buy products, because it doesn't do any good to market a presence if I'm not selling any business. There's a multitude of ways to prospect. Nothing new here. There's really nothing new. Obviously, we got direct mail. We can do direct mail. If you don't have much of a book of business right now, you can. Right now, direct mail is a little bit different than it has been, because we're still in an environment where not as many people want you to come into their home. So you've got to work those appointments and then work them into an online appointment. Referrals obviously are huge from your current customers, but also your social media campaigns. You keep pumping out your social media. People share your posts on their social media. If it really appeals to them, if it's something that really speaks to them, they're going to share that, and that's going to develop referrals for you. Event marketing, when we get back to normal, doing face-to-face seminars, but you know what? There's going to be a new normal going forward too. You need to think about, how can I do virtual seminars? How can I do online seminars? And that's when you're going to need tools, right? You're going to need some way, some platform to allow you to do it, much like what we're doing right here with the GoToWebinar. Really, I could turn on a camera and we could be looking at each other. There's lots and lots of tools with Zoom and GoToMeeting and Google Meet. There's so many tools out there for that kind of thing. So we've done a couple webinars on those. You can go back and look at those. Or if that's something you're really, really, really interested in, I've got an extensive amount of experience in those. Just reach out to me and let's talk about it. But event marketing is a good way to generate prospects. Community marketing, okay, this is really where you can use your social media aspect, your online presence, to really pump up your presence. So not only can you run in your community, Ask the Expert columns. I've talked about those a lot. They work great. They look like columns. They're really ads. Run those in small local newspapers. Maybe if you've got a local newspaper that you can develop a relationship with, and they let you actually write little articles. Sponsoring things in your neighborhood, sponsoring events. Lots of neighborhoods have neighborhood events, sponsoring stuff in that. All of that builds your community presence. But so does your social media. Like I talked about the agent in Jonesboro that was working and helping his community. So you leverage those things. I'm not saying you do that for the sake of marketing, but you did it. So use it to promote what you did. You don't have to say, look at me, look how great I am. You just put out there, hey, look, was proud to help my neighbors today, and then that's it. And that kind of information, that kind of goes a long way in your community-based marketing. Your best prospecting campaigns, just like your best social media campaigns, they're going to combine all of these things, right? So that's not, you can't It's not just I'm going to do this one thing on prospecting. It's really about the total approach, combining all of this stuff to create a local expert approach. You want to be known in your community as the Medicare guy or the final expense guy or lady or whatever it is that you're trying to focus your efforts on. You want to be known in your community as the person that's the expert on that. So what now? Well, first of all, if you haven't done so, sit down and write your digital marketing plan because you've got to have a plan. If you need help with that, reach out to us and I can help point you in the right direction. Once you have a plan, then you just work your plan every day. I know that sounds really simple, but honestly, it really is that simple. Develop a robust plan and then make sure you work that plan every day. And it's really couldn't get any more easy than that. Because, it's like you you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You just got to outwork the smartest guy in the room, and that's how you do it. Consistency. Consistency always wins. So have a plan, a really good, robust plan, and work your plan every day and without fail. With that being said, I'm gone 46 minutes. I could probably go a long time more, but I don't want to keep us any more than an hour on these webinars. So I'm going to stop and invite any questions that you might have. Send those in, and I'll answer those